Why are you getting ready? You're supposed to stay home, you know? What? For a moment, I thought what my husband was saying must be a dream. What does he mean by I'm supposed to stay home? Why? We had promised to go together, didn't we? I just forgot to book your flight ticket. Please don't be mad at me. Everyone makes mistakes, it's unavoidable, right? Besides, it's not like you're paying for it yourself, so you can't really complain, right? The moment I saw the smirking faces of my mother-in-law and husband, I knew this was not a mistake but something planned. A good friend of mine living in Thailand, whose husband manages a hotel, had invited us. But they never intended to let me go from the start. They must have mentioned the mistake because I could still contact my friend. All right. I'll stay home then. Glad you understand. We'll bring you a souvenir, so make sure you take care of the house. Don't slack on the housework just because we're not there, okay? We have cameras, so we'll know everything you do. After saying that, the two of them went back to the living room, smirking. I was left feeling so helpless, even though I had dressed up and prepared presents for my friend. Left alone in the bedroom, I thought there was no point in keeping my makeup on and decided to head to the washroom to take it off when I heard my husband and mother-in-law talking. I can't believe she's that submissive, it's actually surprising. It would be hilarious if she actually thought she'd be taken along. She's not in that kind of position, after all. I hadn't intended to eavesdrop, but at that moment, my suspicions turned into certainty. They never planned to take me with them from the beginning. I reported to my friend that I couldn't make it. My friend was more upset than I was, but even more so, she was furious. However, my friend seemed to have a plan in mind, and I said nothing and saw the three of them off. Then, after about a 20-hour journey, the three of them arrived in Thailand. By the time they got there, it was already 9 p.m., and they went straight to the hotel. Do you have a reservation, manager? Yes, we do have your reservation. Isn't your wife coming? She was supposed to come, but there was a mistake booking the flight ticket, and only hers wasn't booked, so she's staying home this time. Understood. We have no intention of accommodating a scoundrel who does not treat his own wife as family. It's late, so you should look for another place to stay. Well, if you're a scoundrel, I guess you wouldn't mind sleeping outdoors, just be careful of the stray dogs. The faces of my husband and in-laws turned pale at that moment. My name is Amelia, and I currently live with my husband and his parents, 4 of us in total. My husband and I have been married for half a year, but we initially lived just the 2 of us. However, when my father-in-law's back went bad, and it became difficult for my mother-in-law to care for him alone, the 4 of us started living together. I was a homemaker after getting married, so of course, I intended to help with the caregiving. I wanted to get along well with my in-laws, so there were no obstacles for me in starting our life together. Looking forward to living with you from today. He's a big man, and caregiving is hard, but I'll help out, so I'm counting on you. Amelia has experience caring for her parents a few years ago, so I think she can make use of that and get along well. I hadn't seen his parents since we greeted them for our marriage, but I thought we had built a good relationship since then. His parents were friendly and welcoming towards me, so I thought living together wouldn't be a problem. In fact, I had lost my own parents a few years ago, so I thought maybe I could lean on them like my real parents. And so, our life together began. At first, they entertained me with lavish meals and kindly taught me the housework, and I enjoyed my days. But that was only for the first week. Around a week later, my mother-in-law's true nature began to show. Hey, how long are you gonna keep doing the dishes? Hurry up and finish so you can give me a massage, will you? Understood. I'll come right over as soon as I'm done. I've been saying my back hurts since yesterday, and you can't do anything without being told. You really don't pay attention, do you? As a wife, you should notice these things on your own. I'm sorry for not being more attentive. I'll be more careful from now on. Indeed, my mother-in-law had been complaining about her back hurting since yesterday. Living in my in-laws' house, I thought I had to be more careful, but my mother-in-law's remarks kept increasing day by day. Of course, I never complained about my mother-in-law, but the kind version of her seemed to have disappeared. Amelia, can I talk to you for a sec? What's up? We're living in my dad and mom's house, and we're not even paying rent. You get that, right? Of course, I understand, but then you should pay more attention to my mom and dad. My mom was complaining that you're only thinking about yourself. I couldn't say anything back when my husband said that to me. I do think it's true that my mother-in-law is dissatisfied with my behavior. I don't intend to deny that, and since it's the truth, I guess it can't be helped, but I wish my husband would listen to my side of the story a bit more. That's what I ended up thinking. It's not like I'm causing any trouble for my in-laws. I might not be the most attentive, but I do almost all the housework, and I take care of my father-in-law. Right now, I'm doing almost everything, so my mother-in-law just lies on the couch watching TV from morning till night. But I think your mom is living pretty relaxed every day. I do all the housework and everything. Just doing housework would be the same as a maid. As a wife, you need to care more about my parents, don't you get what I'm saying? You're right. I'm sorry for talking back. I'll try to be more thoughtful in my actions from now on. I don't want to have to keep repeating myself, you know? Yeah. I got it. My husband seemed a bit angry with me, so I stopped arguing. However, it left me feeling unsettled. My husband takes the side of his parents and blames me, but am I really the only one at fault? Am I really the cause for not being attentive enough? That's what I ended up thinking. I didn't want to make a big issue out of it since I just got married and will continue to live with my in-laws, so I had no intention of resisting. However, if they keep complaining like this, it'll just stress me out. That was a bit of a worry, but I thought it's no use overthinking, so I decided to go to sleep for the day. And then the next day. Hey! How long are you gonna sleep? Eh? Mother-in-law. What's wrong? That's what I'm saying, how long are you planning to sleep? It's already 7 a.m. Today is Saturday, so. I was surprised when my mother-in-law barged into our bedroom, but she seemed really angry. But I couldn't understand why she was so angry. Today is Saturday, there's no work, and there's no need to wake up early. What on earth happened? Well, you might think it's okay to sleep in, I'm already up, so you should at least make breakfast. How long do you plan on sleeping? Whose house do you think you're living in? That is. I'm sorry. Instead of apologizing, hurry up and make it. My husband, who had been sleeping next to me, woke up due to my mother-in-law's yelling and started glaring at me. No. Why do I have to be glared at? I wanted to say. I'm the victim here, being woken up so early on a Saturday by my mother-in-law, yet my husband keeps glaring at me, not the yelling mother-in-law. Seriously. I was finally sleeping, and now you're causing all these problems instead of fulfilling your role as a wife. Do you realize how inconvenient this is for me? Really, it's sad. I'm out working every day, coming home tired. For now, I'm going back to sleep, but seriously, don't do anything to bother me. My husband glared at me the whole time before going back to sleep. He didn't consider that I had been up until 1 a.m. cleaning up after his and his father's drinking session the night before. I had hoped to build a good relationship with my in-laws since we just got married, but it seems like they might not be interested in that. The stress was building up, and I started to wonder if I could really continue living with these people. However, I was timely invited to dine out by a friend. This friend, someone I could call my best friend since high school, now lives abroad. She was coming back to New York for a visit and invited me out for a meal. Next Saturday, I'm going out for lunch with a friend. It shouldn't take too long, but I thought I'd let you know just in case. Eh? Lunch? Why don't you clean the house instead? Do you think you have free time? Eh? Being taken care of, and yet you think you can just go out and have fun. You think you have time and money to spare? Don't you understand that? I was stunned by my husband's words and couldn't say anything back. Indeed, I am a homemaker, so I'm not earning any money myself. I couldn't live on my own, and this house belongs to my mother-in-law and father-in-law. But, am I not working harder than anyone in this house? Unlike my husband, who gets weekends off, I work 365 days a year without a break. Not only do I have to do all the housework and cook meals, but I also have to keep all three of them happy. I'm struggling every day with this. And yet, why can't I even go out for lunch with a friend? I was surprised I wasn't allowed to meet a friend who's visiting just once a year.
It's just once a year, she's coming back. Wouldn't it be okay to let me go? I'm not asking to go on an overnight trip or have a fancy dinner.
It's not about that. You don't understand your place. You're just a wife, so you shouldn't be going out anywhere. Don't you get that it's common sense? The idea that I can't go out anywhere, such societal awareness is absurd. The notion that a wife should walk 3 steps behind her husband. Maybe that was a common thought back in the day. The husband's word is law, truly a patriarchal way of thinking. But now, gender equality is advocated, and fewer women are becoming homemakers upon marriage. I'm not planning to complain about being a homemaker, but it feels like I'm being looked down upon too much. That's how I felt. I'm not a maid, nor am I here to be ordered around by my husband and his parents. I have my dignity as a person. That's what I truly believed. I hope you understand, but think about what you should be doing before you act. Don't think I'll forgive you if you do something on your own. You better think about whether you can live on your own or not. My husband said this to me like a threat. Is he implying he'll divorce me if I don't listen? But knowing him, he might actually do it. Reluctantly, I decided not to meet my friend. I was truly disappointed since I thought meeting her would be a great stress reliever, but after being told off by my husband, there was nothing I could do. I honestly told my friend I couldn't meet because my husband said no, and she understood without any complaints.
Then come visit me in Thailand. My husband manages a hotel, and if you all come, I'll show you around. Really? Of course. If my best friend is coming to visit, I'll entertain you as much as I can. I can't make it free, but I can give you a half-off discount.
My friend understood my situation well and was truly supportive. Time passed, and my husband's work got busier, and my father-in-law's health worsened, so the atmosphere wasn't right for a trip. However, about a year later, my father-in-law's condition stabilized, and my husband's work calmed down a bit. My dad's still in good health, so I was thinking we should go on a trip.
How about Thailand? My friend's husband manages a hotel there and he can give us a 50% discount. Really? That's amazing. I'll talk to Mom about it right away.
My husband was pleased, and I was happy at the thought of visiting my best friend. Despite my regular grievances with my husband's behavior, the prospect of enjoying a trip together made all those complaints seem insignificant. So, we set the dates and decided to go on a trip to Thailand. Thailand is a tourist destination where the cost of living isn't too high, so it wouldn't be too expensive. I asked my friend, and we planned a 10-day trip. My husband took care of booking the flights, so I coordinated with my friend to reserve the hotel. Then, on the day of departure.
Why are you getting ready?
You're supposed to stay home, you know?
What?
For a moment, I thought what my husband was saying must be a dream. What does he mean by I'm supposed to stay home?
Why? We had promised to go together, didn't we?
I just forgot to book your flight ticket. Please don't be mad at me. Everyone makes mistakes, it's unavoidable, right? Besides, it's not like you're paying for it yourself, so you can't really complain, right? The moment I saw the smirking faces of my mother-in-law and husband, I knew this was not a mistake but something planned. They never intended to take me from the start. My friend's husband manages a hotel, and they only wanted to use that to their advantage. They planned to use my friend and me as much as they could and then enjoy themselves without me. I couldn't forgive them for that. The excuse about the mistake must have been because I could still contact my friend. They probably thought if they openly said they weren't taking me, they wouldn't get the discount upon arrival. It was clear they intended to take advantage of everything they could. All right. I'll stay home then. I'm glad you understand. We'll bring you a souvenir, so make sure you take care of the house. Don't slack on the housework just because we're not there, okay? We have cameras, so we'll know everything you do." After saying that, the two of them went back to the living room, smirking. I felt so helpless, even though I had dressed up and prepared presents for my friend. Left alone in the bedroom, I thought there was no point in keeping my makeup on and decided to head to the washroom to take it off when I heard my husband and mother-in-law talking. "I can't believe she's that submissive, it's actually surprising. It would be hilarious if she actually thought she'd be taken along. She's not in that kind of position, after all." I hadn't intended to eavesdrop, but at that moment, my suspicions turned into certainty. They never planned to take me with them from the beginning. I reported to my friend that I couldn't make it. My friend was more upset than I was, but even more so, she was furious.
"You were supposed to come, so I even asked my husband to give us a discount. What is this? You're not treated like family."
I've felt used in our marriage life. Maybe I'm just like a maid to them. Well, it's fine. If they're going to belittle you like that, I don't care. If they're going to Thailand, come over. I'll show them my hospitality. My friend said that, but I wasn't planning to stay silent. It seemed like my friend had a plan, and I decided to see the three of them off without saying anything. Then, after about a 20-hour journey, the three of them arrived in Thailand. By the time they got there, it was already 9 p.m., and they went straight to the hotel. "Do you have a reservation, manager?" "Yes, we have your reservation. Isn't your wife coming?" I was planning to come at first, but it seems there was a mistake when booking the flight tickets, and only hers wasn't booked. So, she's staying behind this time." "Understood. We have no intention of accommodating a scoundrel who does not treat his own wife as family. It's late, so you should look for another place to stay." "Well, if you're a scoundrel, I guess you wouldn't mind sleeping outdoors, just be careful of the stray dogs." The hotel manager is my friend's husband. My friend mentioned she would provide her own kind of hospitality, but I never imagined she would be so blunt. I was also surprised by the choice to not allow them to stay at the hotel. To take such a stance with a guest.
"No way, that's ridiculous. Why are you saying we can't stay when we had a reservation?"
Let me ask you this, why did you think I would let you stay? There's a limit to audacity.
You.
Just so you know, if you cause any more trouble and disturb other guests, I'll have you leave immediately. You won't be staying at this hotel anyway, as you're outsiders, so please leave as soon as possible. When the manager said this, my husband apparently lost his temper. My husband has a lot of pride and is very patriarchal. So being scolded like that by someone he's meeting for the first time was unbearable for him. However, he must understand that the other party has the upper hand in this situation. The belief that the customer is always right certainly exists, and while there may be differences, a culture of hospitality can be found everywhere. The hotel where my friend's husband works is a famous luxury hotel. I've heard that the hospitality is quite solid. But don't mistake it, they provide hospitality to guests, not to outsiders. Now, you still seem to think you're guests of this hotel, but don't be mistaken. We have no intention of treating you as guests, and if it comes down to it, we'll force you out. Faced with such assertiveness, my husband and in-laws probably realized they were actually at risk of being thrown out. Unable to deal with the situation themselves, they called me.
"Hey! What's going on with your friend's husband? He's saying he won't let us stay at the hotel because you're not here. Do something about it."
If he's saying you can't stay at the hotel, then you just have to accept it, don't you? I'm not the hotel manager or an associate, so I can't interfere. I had no intention of helping my husband and in-laws. They should suffer in an unfamiliar land overseas. That's what I thought. This is what happens when you only think about using people for your own benefit. I'm the victim here, yet I have no reason to extend a helping hand to the three of them.
What are you talking about? Are you planning to abandon us? It's nearly 10 p.m. here. If we can't get into a hotel, it'll be serious. You can imagine that, right? Why should I help you after you deliberately left me behind? I don't owe you that. You betrayed me, so I'll betray you. Huh? What are you saying? Don't make me angrier than I already am as your husband. I won't let this go when you get back.
My husband's threat left me incredulous. He really hasn't learned anything. Of course, no matter what threats he makes, my feelings won't change.
Get angry if you want. It doesn't concern me, and if you think getting angry will change anything, you're mistaken. Don't underestimate people so much. And by the way, I know what you and your mother were saying. You never intended to bring me along from the start.
After I said this, my husband suddenly fell silent. He must have finally understood the situation he's in. Why the manager was so cold isn't just because I wasn't there. And when you get back, I won't be seeing you. So, no matter how much you resent me, it doesn't matter to me.
Huh? What do you mean you won't see me?
Do I really need to spell it out for you? I'm saying I'm getting a divorce.
Divorce? Don't joke around. What do you mean deciding that on your own? Stop this nonsense.
My husband shouted louder than before, but I had already decided to divorce him. Of course, not being able to go to Thailand wasn't the only reason. I made this decision considering everything that has happened so far. My husband and his parents treated me not as a wife or family member, but as a convenient maid for them. I refused to stay with such people anymore.
I'm not a maid or a robot. I can't live with people who don't cherish me as a family member. Hello? What do you mean by divorce? You can't just decide something like that on your own. That's right. Stop talking nonsense and fix this situation. I've said it many times, but you're just a wife, you can't go against us.
But I'm getting a divorce, and soon I won't be your wife anymore. I plan to submit the divorce papers tomorrow. Remember half a year ago when we argued, and you wrote the divorce papers as a threat? I think they'll come in handy now. Actually, half a year ago, during an argument, my husband prepared divorce papers as a threat. The papers were signed, and all that was left was to submit them. He went that far. At that time, I thought I couldn't live on my own if we divorced, and that one shouldn't just divorce, but now, looking back, I realize how terribly I was treated. Well, having those divorce papers now gives me the strength to stand firm, so maybe I should be thankful.
That's invalid. Don't do something so reckless. Do you know what will happen when you get back? If you reconsider now, I'll forgive you, so just listen to me.
What benefit do I get from listening to you? No matter what you say, my decision to divorce won't change. I said just that and hung up the phone. Then, I blocked all SNS and completely cut off contact. I could just leave them be, but that would trouble my friend's husband too much. Though I'm getting a divorce, causing any more trouble is the last thing I want, so I decided to contact my friend. It's like this now. I think your husband is dealing with them, but is everything okay? It's fine. My husband didn't become a manager because of seniority, he knows how to handle such people. I'm sorry for causing trouble.
I don't think that way, so don't worry. Besides, my husband was more furious than I was.
Really? Yeah, he values family more than anything in this world. That's why he took the lead in this situation. I met my friend's husband a few years ago, and even then, he truly cherished my friend. So, when they announced their marriage, I felt relieved that my friend would be in good hands. Family should be like this, I believe.
Thank you so much. If it weren't for you, I'd still be stuck with them. Thank you, truly. We're best friends, don't worry about it. As long as you live happily, that's all that matters to me.
I was truly grateful to have such a supportive best friend. About an hour later, my friend contacted me to say my husband and his parents reluctantly left the hotel. Well, they didn't have an official reservation, so they couldn't complain, could they? The next day, I submitted the divorce papers and completely severed ties with my ex-husband. I didn't have much stuff, so I quickly left my in-laws' house and stayed with a single friend for a while. My ex-husband and his parents bombarded me with calls after returning, but I ignored them all. I have my own life, and I won't let someone like my ex-husband interfere with it. According to my friend, my ex-husband and his parents had to stay in a cheap hotel and suffered through a miserable 10-day stay with bedbugs. Well, that's none of my concern. Now, I need to find a job and can't stay at my friends forever, but this experience has been a valuable life lesson. Being family doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. Respect and care for each other are essential in a family. People like my ex and his parents, who forgot that, probably won't end up well. I'll cherish those who help me and live my life valuing such relationships. Because they are the greatest treasures in life.